guys, so if you couldn't tell from the title of this video or this t-shirt that I'm wearing, we are going to be talking about Pretty Little Liars. Now, I suspect that you'll be getting a lot of Pretty Little Liars videos from me as we head towards the final episodes of the show. Literally, I feel like there might be a reaction every episode or every couple of episodes or something, because as we wrap up the show, things are going to get intense and things are going to be revealed, and I'm going to have a lot of thoughts. So, just forewarning, be prepared for that. I made a video 2 weeks ago talking about the last episode, and this week we're talking about this episode because they actually went on a week break between the last episode and this episode. And I was super excited about this episode because I knew two things for sure. One, Mona was going to see the game board and she was going to be obsessed with it, which I loved, by the way. And two, Ren was going to be back, and that's a big deal. But I have to say, those two things that happened were very lackluster, very like 5 seconds in the show, and I was waiting all episode for those two things to happen, and you know, they made you wait like basically all of the episode for those two things to happen because they happened towards the end. But yeah, got a lot of things to talk about. Obviously, I'm wearing my Emison shirt today, so of course I'm going to talk about them. This was a big thing this episode. First thing I want to say first is, if you guys didn't know, this was Troyan's directorial debut. Basically, Troyan directed this episode of Pretty Little Liars, and I was super excited about that. I actually love when actors direct their own show. Like, I feel like because they've been acting in it a lot, they kind of know a lot about the show, obviously, and it's really cool that they get the opportunity to do that. Like in Vampire Diaries, Ian Somerhalder and Paul Wesley directed a few episodes, so that was really cool, and I'm really excited that Troyan got to direct this episode. That was great. She did a great job. The scene with Emily and Paige when Paige says goodbye, which I'll talk more about later, was actually so beautiful, and I really loved it, so I'm really glad that Troyan got to direct this episode. But yeah, I actually think we'll start with the Emison thing, because I feel like that was a big thing this episode. So yeah, Emily and Allison decide to get a blood test to see if the baby is actually Emily's, and the blood test comes back saying, yes, this child is Emily's, so Allison is gonna have Emily's baby, which is kind of insane. Like I said in my last video, I'm like, is that even possible? I don't believe that this happened, but that happened. So Emily is gonna be a mum, and the father is not actually Archer Dunhill because that blood type was wrong. So now the main question is, who's the father of this child? Especially because Emily actually does want to keep the child, and when she decided that that was going to be it, like she was literally asking Allison to have her baby, I was like, oh my god, is this happening? Like, it's one thing to ask someone to have your child when you are in a relationship and you are thinking about having a surrogate mother. It's one thing to ask someone to have your child then. It's a whole other thing to ask someone to have your child when they were, like, literally illegally impregnated with your egg. Like, I'm sorry, but that's not the kind of situation where you want to ask someone to have your baby. If anything, I feel like Emily should try again when she's with someone else. And, you know, when things are actually, you know, consenting, you know, that's kind of the main thing. Like, if you want Allison to have your baby, that's totally fine, but if you could just do it in another way, in another time, that would be really great, because asking her to have your child when you don't even know who the father is, and the fact that A.D. impregnated Allie, it's a lot, guys. It is a lot. And could you just imagine, you know, one day your child comes up to you and, you know, asks you how this all happened, and you can't really explain it because you're like, this anonymous person that used to torture us got Allison pregnant, and that's how you became, like, part of this world. Like, it's just insane. I have explained this situation to someone who doesn't watch Pretty Little Liars, and they were literally staring at me like, what the fuck do you watch on TV? Because that is insane. And I know it's insane. And, you know, I saw a lot of people on Tumblr being like, if this is the way that Marlene is forcing Emison to be together, I don't want it. And I completely agree. I don't want that either. I don't want this to be a thing. No words, guys. No words. I want Emison to be together as much as everyone else, but I would like it to be in a way that isn't because Emily is asking Allison to have her baby. Like, I would rather they just got together in spite of all of that. Like, I don't want the baby to be the reason why they're together, is basically what I'm saying, and what everyone on Tumblr is saying, because it's insane. And, you know, obviously, I hope in the next few episodes we do find out who the father is, because I feel like that is a big thing to do with this. Like, who is the father of your child? So yeah, I just, now that I've said what I had to say about that, we're just gonna leave it because I can't even think about it anymore. It's just, it's ridiculous. I mean, I know that it was like a really serious thing for this show, but honestly, I was just rolling my eyes. I was like, there's no way that this is happening, but it is. It's happening. Another thing I will say though is that whenever Paige comes to see Allison and Allison is describing how she feels about Emily, that was really cute. But yeah, like I said, I don't want this to be them getting together because of the baby. I want it to be that they actually want to be together. Because literally, like, this is whenever Paige decides to leave. Emily tells Paige everything, and then Paige is like, I gotta go. I can't handle this. This is too much for me. I'm out. Which is probably the right response to take to this kind of situation. Just leave. Just excuse yourself, because, I mean, could you just imagine if Paige stuck around and Emily and Paige were together and Allison was having a baby that was Emily's? Like, I feel that's a whole other, like, love triangle thing that I just don't even want to get into. So, yeah. We're gonna, like, leave that. Paige is gone. Bye-bye, Paige. It was nice to know you. Although, I have to talk about Paige in relation to the Aria thing, because, okay, this is totally just me, like, looking way too much into things. I know that I said that I wasn't gonna make theories and things right now, but this is what the show does, okay? It makes you so sick of it, but then you watch the next episode because you're so dedicated, and you can't help but, like, make theories and think about things. So really what I noticed in this episode is that Aria and Paige have really similar face shapes, which sounds ridiculous, I know, but, like, they have similar shaped faces. And, when Aria was getting FaceTimed by AD, and AD had made this computerized version of Aria, I couldn't help but notice it kind of reminded me of Paige. Like, kind of in the way that she spoke as well. I don't know, it just kind of resembled Paige, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want AD to be Paige. I mean, I can kind of understand why it would be Paige. And, like, I guess I would kind of be okay with that, but I just remember that someone on IMDb changed the Pretty Little Liars page to say that Paige was AD, and I don't want Paige to be AD because then that means that person was right, and it was basically spoiled for us from, like, the very start of the second half of the season. So yeah, what I'm saying is I can understand why it would be Paige, but I would kind of prefer if it was someone else. But yeah, can we just say that that computerized version of Aria is super creepy? Because it is. It's weird. It's disorienting. You know, I kind of thought that it was Sydney. The way that they did it at first, before we saw, like, the very end clip, I kind of thought that it was AD talking and, like, filming, and the Aria thing was just over their face. So every time it glitched or something, I kind of thought, oh my god, it's gonna, like, glitch out and you're gonna see who it is. But obviously, you know, AD is, like, the tech genius, so that was not gonna happen, but I just kept thinking it was gonna happen. So computerized Aria is creepy AF. Also, whenever Aria's phone was vibrating when she was with her friends, wouldn't her friends be like, yo, don't you want to get that phone? Because even when your phone vibrates, if it's, like, on a surface or if it's in a bag or something, you can hear it. Like, you think that vibrating is more discreet than if your phone was, like, to give a loud ringtone, but it's still pretty loud and people still notice it. So the fact that her friends were like, yo, Aria, aren't you gonna answer your phone, is a little bit weird. So that's the only thing I have to say about that. But yeah. Also, Aria stealing the comic book. I can't believe that she actually did it. I can't believe that Aria is actually, you know, deciding to betray her friends. It's weird. A lot of people were like, this is the dark side I've always wanted for Aria, but honestly, I don't know. I think it seems weird to see her acting like this. I feel like it's very out of character. I just don't even know. I'm really proud of her for, like, finally standing up to Ezra and being like, what the fuck, why are you running to Nicole again? Because honestly, I'm sick of it. I want them to break up because Ezra's just annoying the crap out of me lately, like running to Nicole all the time. And then the way he was talking about Nicole being through the worst things ever, I sort of just sat there like, Aunt Aria hasn't been through the most traumatic experience in her life ever. Now obviously the difference between those two things is that whenever Nicole came back, Ezra was with Aria. But whenever Aria came out of the dollhouse, Ezra was like there for her. So there's that. There's like a difference in that. But I just don't understand why Ezra is still like running after Nicole. I'm so annoyed. I thought he made his choice with Aria, but apparently he didn't because, you know, he's still running to Nicole. Except he doesn't run to Nicole because he decided to change his mind about getting on the flight. I don't know why he changed his mind. It seemed kind of suspicious, although maybe it's because of who he saw at the airport, which I'll talk about as like a separate thing. But yeah, I don't know. So Ezra doesn't go to see Nicole, and I guess that means that Aria and Ezra are okay again, but I don't want them to be okay because I just don't want that. I mean, I know that there's going to be a wedding in the finale, and, you know, I kind of assumed that it was going to be Ezra and Aria's, you know, because they are together. They're the ones that are engaged, but I don't want that. I want it to be someone else's wedding. I want it to come out of completely left field. For all we know, one of their parents is getting married again. I don't know. But yeah, I don't really want it to be Aria and Ezra's wedding. I used to really love them. Like, I loved their ship, like, way back in the day. But honestly, it's just kind of deteriorated. And I just don't want it anymore. Yeah, so far, AD has not asked Aria to do much of anything. Basically, she asked her to steal a comic book and be a spy, so she hasn't really reported much, and she hasn't really done much. I'm waiting for AD to make her do some crazy shit, because I'm excited for that to happen. One thing that I was actually thinking about this entire episode wasn't it supposed to be Hannah's turn? Wasn't she supposed to lift the phone? Wasn't something supposed to happen with that? But apparently nothing has happened. The board game just kind of was like accepting, like, okay, Hannah's not taking her turn right now. Shouldn't it be that AD is more forcing that as well? Because, like, I know that AD is trying to, like, get Aria to do stuff for her, but wouldn't it be more helpful if Hannah was actually playing the game so Aria could, like, really betray her friends? Like, I swear the Pretty Little Liars promos are out of control with making this look more dramatic than it is, because I kind of stayed away from the promos, but, you know, I saw gifs, I saw photos being like, Aria's about to betray everyone, and oh my god, Ren is back. Like, they made it so dramatic, and I'm over here sitting like, that's so not how the episode went. So don't watch Pretty Little Liars promos. They oversell it way too much, and I can't even deal. I mean, there was that one promo, like the one promo whenever Jenna had the gun, and I saw, and I freaked out, but that was actually worth it. That was actually really shocking. But, you know, most of the promos for most of the episodes don't live up to the actual episode. If you want to know what Pretty Little Liars is actually like, you have to watch the show, because the promos are lies. So, yeah, just putting it out there. So yeah, so far, Aria has not really done much. Can we talk about the comic book for a second? So yeah, Lucas and Charles made a comic book, which, by the way, looked way too good to just be like two kids at summer camp making a comic book. Like, that looked like a real comic book, and I was thinking, like, if you're like 7 and you're at summer camp with your friend, if you're gonna make a comic book, it's gonna look a lot crappier than that. That thing was like, I mean, it was like professional artwork over here, and I'm just like, I don't think that Lucas is a good artist, and I don't think that Charlotte is either. But okay, guys, we're gonna go with the professional looking comic book, which was made by a couple of like 8-year-olds. Okay. But yeah, basically the comic book told you what was gonna happen to the liars. Basically, it was foreshadowing the entire thing. So Lucas is part of this somehow. But Lucas is not AD because Hannah invites Mona over to look at the game board, and Mona deduces that the board is more mechanical rather than like to do with software and stuff. So like, yeah. Like I said at the start of this video, I really loved whenever Mona got to see the game board. This was also a thing in the promo, but I just loved Mona's reaction to it. I love Mona in general. There's not enough of Mona on the show, I feel. So I was really excited when she was back, even if it was only for 5 minutes. But I mean, I got excited because, you know, she was like putting her head to the game board. She was getting up close and personal with it. She was obsessed. She was taking photos. She knows the whole shebang. And Hannah was convincing Mona to play the game with her so that they could win. And it would all be over for 8 days. So, yeah. I feel like important things that we learned from the game board is that it is sealed. So whoever made it can't get into it anymore. It's on batteries, so once the batteries die, the game dies. I don't know what kind of batteries they are, but they're probably like some really strong ones that are lasting through what seems like months and months of the liars trying to play it. I mean, I just feel like the show's still going kind of slow for my liking. I would rather it pick up, and I would rather provoke them to take more turns, because this is boring, guys. I know that there's only a certain amount of like puzzle pieces that they have to get, but I mean, speed it up, guys. Edie wants the game over. I want the game over. Everyone wants the game over. If you want it over, speed it up. Provoke them, because they haven't really been doing much lately. So yeah. Okay, so moving on to Spencer. I feel like she is the last person we have to talk about in this video. I think I've covered everything else. But yeah, Spencer. Okay, at the start of this episode, we see her going to talk to the detective guy, whose name I forget. And she brought him cupcakes, and she's like trying to find out more about the Archer Dunhill situation. And obviously the detective's like, well, I think that you girls killed him. And they're all like, what? No, we knew nothing about that. They're being very much like, we didn't do that, even though they did. And so obviously Spencer's like trying to find out if they know anything, if they're suspicious of them. And obviously they are, because it's Rosewood, and anything that happens in Rosewood, the police automatically suspect it's one of the 4 girls, because that's just the way this show goes. And the detective guy thinks either the girls did it or maybe Mary was involved in it. And so or maybe that they were all working together, because he was asking Spencer, like, when you asked me to look for Mary, did you know that she might have had something to do with Archer Dunhill? And Spencer was like, no, I didn't know Archer was dead whenever I asked you to look for Mary Drake. And so there's that. But then later in the episode, whenever Mary reaches out to Spencer, and Spencer wants to talk to Mary, Spencer goes to the Lost Woods Resort. The detective guy follows her, which is really shady, because like Spencer pointed out in the episode, he saw her leave her barn, and then he followed her, waited in his car for like an hour, and then went in to look for Spencer. Like, that is shady AF. Especially since he's like not supposed to be treating her like a suspect. Like, I know that he is, but he's trying to be, you know, incognito about it. He's not trying to be shady or suspicious, but it's just kind of shady that he followed her. So there was that. And then the detective guy explains to Spencer about how the night that they were at the bar when they met for the first time, that Archer Dunhill's credit card was used there, and then all of a sudden Spencer remembers that it was her that used the card to pay for their drinks, and then she signed the check. And I'm like, can you believe that Spencer remembered that when she was like drunk? Well, she wasn't like drunk, but I mean, props to her for remembering, but of course she did, because she's Spencer Hastings and remembers everything. So yeah, basically the detective guy says that he's gonna like look through all the receipts and see if Archer had actually signed one, or if someone was just using his credit card, because, you know, he was dead by then. And yeah, that happened. Spencer used his card, and he's probably gonna figure out that Spencer used the card, and Spencer's probably gonna get arrested, and no one wants that to happen, because Spencer's like one of the best characters on the show. So yeah, that happened. Spencer was like freaking out, and then whenever she came out of the shower, she like got another message from Mary, and Mary saw that Spencer brought the police. Even though Spencer didn't bring the police, the guy just followed her there, and she says goodbye, and you're like, oh my gosh, does this mean that Spencer's not going to have a relationship with her biological mother? There's something tells me that this isn't the end we've seen of Mary Drake, because I feel like she's going to come out for the finale. I feel like all the characters are coming out for the finale. The 2 are finale of Pretty Little Liars. I'm so excited, guys. I'm so excited to find out the answers to everything. I'm excited for the show to end, but you know I will be sad about it because I'll have nothing to talk about on Wednesdays anymore. It'll be kind of sad. So yeah, that was all of the things except for this one thing that I really had to talk about, and that is when Ezra sees that Spencer and Ren are in the airport, except there's no way that that is Spencer, okay? So, yeah, basically, Ezra's at the airport, he's like about to go and see Nicole, he sees all of the flights on the board are basically delayed, and so he turns around and he sees Spencer frantically talking to Ren, and Spencer calls out on Ezra and is like, by the way, you didn't see us here, just so you know. And it's like, well, okay, that's definitely not Spencer. Which brings us to one of the other things that I've seen on Tumblr quite a few times, and that is that Spencer has a twin. This is something that people have been talking about for a while, and bam, it literally just happened. Because in my mind, Spencer, like, from the last time we saw her, she was literally like in the Lost Woods Resort with the detective guy, and then seeing her again at the airport, they were completely different people. Completely different. And like, it just seemed completely different. And obviously, I feel like she was dressed differently too. I mean, I know that like she was literally just wearing like a black t-shirt and jeans at the airport, but like, it didn't look like Spencer. Something was off. And so clearly, there's something going on there. I don't think that's Spencer. I think it's her twin or something. And obviously Ren knows something, which is something that everyone is probably going to be excited about, because another really common thing on Tumblr is that Ren is actually part of the A-team. And so people are going to love that. They're going to like, I'm so excited to go on Tumblr later because people are going to get so excited about that. I don't even remember what Spencer and Ren were talking about. I really wish I could remember. I think I was just like so hyped up in the moment about like Spencer and Ren being like, that's not Spencer, that I kind of forgot. But I also think that the thing that they were talking about is something that Spencer would not go to Ren about for all people. Now I know that Ren said that his flight was delayed and then he called Spencer, but to me that seems like the weakest excuse ever, because I don't think that Spencer is the only person that Ren knows in Rosewood. Like, you're in Rosewood, who do you think to call? Oh, I know, Spencer Hastings, that girl that I, like, had a crush on, that I, like, kind of made up with for a few times and, like, cheated on her sister with. Like, that whole connection is just, like, why would Spencer be the first person that Ren would call when he's back in Rosewood, you know? So that entire thing, super shady. So excited. I hope we see more of Ren. He seemed kind of shady. And yeah, that basically sums up this episode of Pretty Little Liars. I feel like I'm terrible at recaps, but I just needed to get my thoughts out there about everything that happened, because sometimes these thoughts are way more than 140 characters. I mean, clearly they are greater than 140 characters because I literally just made a 20-minute video talking about it. But yeah, I'm gonna go now. I think I said everything that I needed to say. I also feel like I was talking super fast, so I apologize. The show just gets me feeling so many things that I just have to say it all. It's too much to contain. I just need to share it with the world, because guys, there's like 5 episodes left and the show is, like, I want to say it's kind of getting better, but at the same time it's still like that old PLL thing. Like, you want to love it, but there are some things where you just can't, because they did that. Like, I was kind of like loving this episode. It was like a good episode, except for the fact that Emily wants to have the baby. That was the one thing that I was kind of just like, really, queen? Like, really? But yeah, anyway, like I said, I'm gonna go. I have an exam tomorrow, so really I should be revising, but I had to make a video because, I mean, I just had to. You guys know how I feel about this. I just had to. And so, yeah. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. And let me know in the comments below what you're feeling about Pretty Little Liars. Who do you think is AD? And yeah, all that jazz. And yeah, I guess I will see you guys in my next video, whether that be Pretty Little Liar related or otherwise. I actually only have 2 exams left. They finish on Friday, so hopefully after that I can make more videos. And yeah, I don't know. I really do want to try and make videos that aren't Pretty Little Liars related though, because I feel like this is what's taking up my channel recently. That and talking about other TV shows. So gonna try and focus on videos that don't have to do with TV. But I guess we'll just see what happens. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna go. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys. There are so many things with this that I just don't understand, and I think it's kind of crazy, and yeah. I don't even know what I said made sense, but here's my thing, guys. I just can't believe that this is actually happening and this is a thing that the show is doing.